be, hopefully. Yeah, well, we'll just start again from the start, and hopefully it'll go smoothly, you know? Yeah, I'll just count down again, and we'll get back to the explanations. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good. You want me to keep going on PMA?
Yeah, kick it off on PMA.
All right, yeah, so basically we get 4 shortcuts on our D-pad, and we use all of them for a bunch of various reasons through the run, but the photo mode shortcut basically lets us trick the game into working and moving the NPCs while everything is still frozen. And then with a trick coming up on that next platform over there, we actually get to do this photo mode abuse and then open create menu at the same time, and it allows us to play the game while the game shouldn't be played, and it causes some interesting things to happen. But we also use it to reset Ratchet's grounded position and do infinite jumps and despawn some bosses later on and all this other cool stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's good to also mention that this version of this create mode abuse is actually only done once in the entire run, and it's right here. So this will be the only time you see this variation of it. So it is coming up here in a second.
Yep, I've just started it now. Whoop.
And you can see the float on the other side.
So I messed up very slightly the well, I guess not really a death abuse, but just an element of it. So what I'm supposed to do here is I'm supposed to land in the water, and I get teleported up to this position here. And if you do that like very slightly too far right, you sort of get like a quasi soft lock state, I want to say, where it just sort of pauses the game and does nothing.
Yeah, so then you just saw Mobius there. He jumped over to sort of a little platform, and he shot at the goon ship that was driving in, and that will skip sort of a little fight where one enemy will jump down and he has to kill that enemy. So he kind of bypassed that by shooting the ship earlier.
Yeah, a running theme in this game is we really don't like rails, and we try to avoid them as much as we can.
Yes, that will be a theme. A lot of we really do not like the rails sections at all, so you'll see later on what we end up doing with those.
Yeah, the parade section here has just an enemy section here at the bottom where we defeat the dropship that we were shooting earlier. And I shoot a rhino shot up at the very top so I can kill the enemies down at the bottom. This causes the dropship to come towards its secondary position much quicker, and then it'll come to this tertiary position right here, and I can defeat all the enemies right away.
You still got the fast cycle, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yes, then pretty much this dropship you saw, Mobius had shot the Warmonger at it twice. That's mainly, so normally during this fight, the ship will sit there and then it will spawn like a bunch of enemies, and you have to wait for the enemies to come out, and then after you kill the enemies, then the ship will start the fight. But we found that if you shot the ship earlier, its health will actually spawn earlier, so then you can just kind of destroy it right away.
Yeah. Just a thing with the weapons in this game, especially the Rhino, like it causes a lot of flashing lights, and like flashing purple white lights, and causes the lighting engine to do some funky things sometimes. So yeah, if you see a lot of visual garbage, it's just related to the Rhino and all the particles it does, because it sort of like spawns objects in from other dimensions. That's like its shtick. And there's like miniature portals that will also spawn a lot of garbage in. But yeah, this set piece here and these rails, like you can keep jumping on rails to maintain your highest possible speed, but otherwise it's just, well, on rails. Oh nice, I got the Miss Circle skip there, if you want to explain that.
Yeah, that's we do that. There's 2 possible spots we can do it, but we really only do it here, and it basically sort of overwrites the unskippable cutscene, or sort of like the animation where Miss Zircon walks up, and we can instantly open the Miss Zircon vendor to progress the story.
Yeah, I feel like now it's good to mention, now that you just saw something very interesting that Mobius had done, where he seemingly opened the map in photo mode, just like from earlier, but he actually was able to jump again. So that is something that we call infinite jumps, and those will be used in a couple other places in the run.
Yeah, by sort of mechanically how the photo mode abuse works is that it will play animations that are currently ongoing within the photo mode sort of menu, I suppose. So it will resolve them, and then when you quit out of the photo mode, it'll give you that grounded state that you always get after a hyperstrike. And we use infinite chance like 3 or 4 times in the run. They're not as useful as like the name sort of implies.
Yeah, they can be very good for sort of recovery as well. So, you know, if you're kind of trying to do a skip or something and you fall too low and you're like, oh no, I'm going to die, you can kind of just use them as like a backup to get back up to where you wanted to be at. So it's very helpful in some instances.
Once we get charge boots, we can actually double jump out of it as well. So we actually get a little more distance out of those if we ever have to use them.
Yes.
Yeah, the hover boots, we use infinite shots in like 2 or 3 places just because like the hover boots are really good for horizontal momentum, but not vertical momentum.
Yeah, and I think it's also good to note about the Rhino, before I guess we get too far. If you have ever played this game and you had fully upgraded the Rhino, you probably noticed that it looks a little bit different. Normally when you fire it, kind of it goes into like a V, and then there's like 4 different types of objects on each side that drop down. And you've probably been noticing that for the Rhino that Mobius has, it's only shooting down 3 lasers and 3 different objects. And the reason for that is mainly because we found it to be way more consistent to actually have less upgrades, because for some reason the objects seem to overlap with the smaller portals if you have it fully upgraded. So a lot of the enemies weren't actually dying when they were intended to die. So we found a way to have less upgrades and the enemies would die, making it a lot better to do it like that instead.
Yeah, the specific things, and that's probably the only weapon that has like a really strict upgrade pattern. The rest are just fully upgraded weapons as much as we can sort of get them. During the set piece section, there's not much to talk about. Like it's just a demonstration of what the engine can do. If there's a donation or 2 to read out, that'd be lovely here.
Oh, we have a lot of very good ones here. If we've got time for the 2 here, then let me pick $70 here from Rubberer Ducky, who says, gotta ratchet up the donations for the Final Fantasy VII bonus game. I love the extra ER. Rubberer Ducky, thank you. Great, $70. And $5 here from Hammerhead, who says, who loves orange soda? We all love orange soda. If we meet the Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate incentive, we get to see another amazing Final Fantasy run and more orange soda. Let's go, chat.
Sweet. Yeah, get that Final Fantasy VII run in. I'm excited to see it. So, we are on to Nefarious City now. Quick recap of the story. Our old pal Dr. Nefarious has broken the Dimensionator and caused us to travel to a completely different dimension, and now we don't know where Clank is.
And right off the bat, we're going to have a little fence skip here where Mobius is going to jump onto this wall and then hyperstrike right over that fence. And that, believe it or not, only saves like 1 or 2 seconds, but it looks so cool that we had to make sure to include it.
And then
It's one of the few instances of wall bounces. Well, I might want to reposition for this. Yeah, it's a few instances of wall bounces, like giving us a little extra height to make a trick possible.
Yeah, so what Mobius is doing right here now is we have another shortcut on our D-pad that lets us basically wrench combo without, while we're not able to move in some of these unskippable cutscenes. And he actually wrench comboed forward into the next checkpoint, and then we can change visual settings to actually basically act as a restart checkpoint when we're not able to.
Yeah.
And that'll be used a couple more times in the run as well. And we'll make sure mention whenever those show up.
Yeah, a lot of the name of the game is like using our restart checkpoint option in particular locations to spawn forward. I didn't do the cutscene warp there because I skipped a little too quickly, but that's okay. So there'll be another infinite jump here coming up. It just crosses this small gap here a lot quicker without having to use like the swing shot and all that.
I guess we can explain cutscene warps too, right? Basically, we'll see it later on in the run, but we have another shortcut for skipping cutscenes. That's why you don't see him press start and skip cutscenes automatically or manually. So we have a button for it, basically. And whenever, for like, I think 3 or 4 cutscenes in this game, whenever the Ratchet or Rivet have forward momentum going into the cutscene, we can hold forward and R1 and spam X. and press that button, and it will basically shoot us with like a ton of speed off in different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the Phantom Dash here, which the Phantom just gave us. So the Phantom Dash is like a bridge between two main movement methods, the hover boots, which we get later, and the normal sprint. The dash allows us to just travel completely flat across the air, and it's just a little bit quicker than sprint jumping. But more importantly, we can dash, jump, and then dash again, and that gives us way more air time and like pretty much negates the use of a lot of potential infinite jumps, because we are just able to travel such a great horizontal distance with the Phantom Dash.
The jump at the end of the first dash cancels out like a small halting animation as well.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that normally when you dash, Ratchet or Rivet have like a stop animation, and then you have to wait a little bit before it lets you dash again. So this kind of voids all of that, and we can just kind of spam the dash and go through every level pretty quickly until we get the hover boots.
Honestly, I completely forgot that ever existed, because the very first thing I did with the dash is try to jump out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was found very quickly. Yeah, so coming up here, there's going to be this fight in a spa section, and so Mobius is going to be jumping into a checkpoint that normally there's an unskippable cutscene that's there, but if you pause the game right as you hit that checkpoint and you restart checkpoint, you'll actually skip the cutscene, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's a few instances of that where we hit the checkpoint trigger before the game can force us into anything that is unskippable, and you know, whether we can like dash back out of it or photo mode abuse into it, sort of it gives us less it removes a lot of the downtime that's in this run. Obviously there's a few things that we can't sort of skip, but a lot of the tricks in this game are just based on like thinking about how we can best exploit the triggers and just have as little waiting around as possible. I forgot to do the mute there, but that's okay. It didn't lose that much time.
So pretty much this game is like very heavily like movement based. So anyone that loves movement based speedruns, this is like a really cool speedrun. There isn't a lot of like skips per se, and that's mainly because of how the game is actually checking to see what you've done. So this game more has like a checklist of the different things you have to do before it allows you to complete the level. And so we have to make sure that in each level we're hitting all of the required, checklist items before it lets us complete it. So that's why when you see later on some levels, you might think, well, why can't they just skip right to the end? And that's the reason. It's because the game is checking to make sure we've done other things.
Yeah.
Some of those things are dialogue based as well, and we can basically mute their dialogue with a couple different inputs.
Yeah. I was meant to do one up at the top, the rooftop there, but that one only saves a few seconds, and I just slipped my mind.
Yeah, so there we just kind of destroyed that boss. We kind of killed him in like 4 seconds, and now he's gone already. And it's good to mention that you probably saw how Mobius killed that boss. He was switching between the Cold Front and the Warmonger, so in some instances, you can use certain weapons and kind of quickly switch back and forth with them, and they deal like a ton of damage. And so the Warmonger and the Cold Snap are like a really good combo to just kind of melt bosses.
Yeah. And the other combo.
There's debuff weapons. Yeah, sorry. There's 2 debuff weapons that we use in this run, and that's the Cold Front, which does like a 3.5 times damage multiplier, and the Topiary Sprinkler, which also does like a 3 times multi. It's like very barely less than the Cold Front. So yeah, we'll be using that, the Warmonger and the Rhino, all those together to get the most damage in our combat sequences. Now we're on to Sargasso and Rivet.
Yeah, so this is pretty much where we first play as Rivet. She pretty much controls the exact same as Ratchet, and she also has all the weapons Ratchet has as well. So thankfully there isn't really anything like extra that we have to do playing as Rivet, because we already have all of the gadgets and weapons because they carry over.
Yeah. Here I'm in the first pocket dimension.
Yeah, so Mobius will be doing a skip here where he's pretty much going to activate dialogue from this bot that's sitting here, and then he's going to fall into the acid, and he is going to spawn back at the portal, and it'll essentially skip the entire section because we sort of found out that that dialogue is actually a trigger to complete that section. So we just had to find a way back up to the top pretty much.
Yeah. The game saves your grounded state if you're standing on it for longer than a second, I think, or a second or so. So if we jump,
just about.
Yeah, if we jump as soon as we hit the ground, we actually the game won't register or update our position. So we can do stuff like that and then fall into the acid like you did right there, and it'll just teleport us right back to the start.
Also, shout out to Mobius for doing that jump on the Speedle you all just saw, where he like hit that hive and he flew up. Just want to let everyone know that only saves 1 second, and if you die doing that, you lose a lot.
Yeah, I timed that the other day to like properly save time, and I find it pretty easy. So I think Syn and Nautical should do it in their run. But, you know, I'm not the judge. I'm not the judge.
I do. I've started trying it now.
Yes.
Yeah, so as you've seen these fights Mobius is doing, it's pretty standard. You just kind of shoot the Rhino a ton. Sometimes you'll shoot the Cold Snap. You can also throw the Topiary Sprinkler here as well. And we're pretty much just kind of going through these waves as fast as possible by spamming the Rhino.
A fun thing to note is if you have, say, hold the fire on, and you have the cold front and the warmonger, if you just hold the trigger down and just spam triangle, it will actually shoot both as fast as possible.
Yeah, so we alternate between the Warmonger and Rhino, just depending on, like, so you see here I'm using the Rhino because it's long range, and I'm able to defeat a lot of enemies that spawn in the back that you can't see at the moment. The Rhino has a very, very big, like, radius that sort of comes out of it, that will defeat enemies. Like, it pretty much one-shots a lot of the basic enemies earlier on in the game. It switched to the Combustor. Not ready to talk about that yet.
Yeah, the Combustor's coming later. If you've ever played this game, you would know that the Combustor is not a usable weapon, but we will explain later on how Mobius has the Combustor.
Alright, so I use the Speedle there to ramp very slightly off a little ledge, and I'll be doing it again just here to ramp off these rocks and get to the top of the Secret section. Normally there's set ramps about halfway through this section that you're supposed to jump off and then land on the top of the Secret. But the Speedle is really generous in this game. If there's like an incline that's like 45 degrees or less, it will just go up it, and it will potentially ramp off it as well. So I was able to use that there to get right to the top.
And it's weird watching Mobius get that first try. Because we all know I never get that first try.
Yeah, maybe not second try either. Or third.
Yeah, so Mobius is obviously here doing the Secret boss, and he's going to do something similar. But he's going to use the photo mode to actually make sure that Rivet does not jump onto the Speedle, and then he used the Migraine to sort of hit the area that the Speedle normally would have run into. And it just kind of, like, it works if you shoot it with normal weapons, so you actually don't even need the Speedle.
That's also really the only spot we use the Migraine in the run, sadly.
Yeah, it's just like a very precise weapon that you need for just making that a lot easier. You can use the Rhino more longer, but I find that really hard to work with the explosion radius that it sort of has.
Yeah, and here's the Clank section. Anyone loves Clank? Oh, and the Clank section's over.
Yeah, so
unfortunately in this game, they let you skip.
Have a skip puzzle.
Yeah, so all the glitch puzzles and Clank puzzles, the devs were nice enough to put in a skip puzzle button inside of the menu, so we can just kind of skip them all, so you'll never see any of them actually being played in this run.
Alright, yeah, this is a cutscene here that we cannot skip, unfortunately, despite our best efforts. But this introduces us to the ship and the ship menu and all that. And we'll be moving on to Xerkes. You know, I'm going to give the cutscene more of a try.
Yeah.
Never done it successfully.
Just go straight forward and spam X.
Yes. So the cutscene warp that we had mentioned before, or that Nautical had mentioned, Mobius is going to try to do. And you see he didn't really get it, but he went flying. But ideally you'd want to land next to the door up there. But yeah,
that one
it's
has
the same
a
sort of
very specific angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Xerkes. This is like the standard arena level. Most Ratchet and Clanks now have a level that's like dedicated to just sort of like arena fighting, and so this is that level. And in NG+, the arena is pretty long, and a majority of it is just spamming the Rhino.
Yeah. Like, with other arenas in the series, there's usually some sort of gimmick or whatever that will make it go a lot quicker. But unfortunately in this game, a lot of the waves are just set, like, you defeat one wave and the next wave comes out. And it's not particularly that fast in this game. It's sort of like set timings, I suppose. So it's about 2 minutes of nothing much interesting. And I think it'd be a good time to get a lot of donations out if there's any to read.
There are always so many with you on the game. Let's be real
Let
here.
them loose.
All right, here's $50 from Foas that says, good luck on the run, Mobius. Also, more importantly, any bus bros? And because they could, they donated another $5 that just says, gaming.
Gaming. Gaming indeed.
Gaming. All right, cool, cool. I have another special donation here, $50 that says, hey, chat, ate a tree here. Just checking in and hoping you're all staying cute and comfy as well as... Wait. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate isn't met yet? I take it all back. No cute or comfy unless we all work together to unlock this bonus game. Okay, fine. You're still cute, but I want you to go to gamesdonequick.com/donate now. So thank you to fellow host Ada Tree for that beautiful encouragement for all the cute chatters there. This is your reminder that our next game, potentially bonus game 3, which will close at the end of this game, we'll see. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is at $85,909.52 of the $100,077.77 we need. We're getting close. We have time. It's a bit over an hour judging a little bit here on this game. Otherwise, we don't get more GDQ. You don't get any orange soda. You don't get any more memes. It's just keep it in mind. Here is $25 from Retro Next Gen that says, love to see Ratchet and Clank on the main stage. Keep up the good work and let's unlock the Final Fantasy VII Remake bonus run.
I think we can do about 3 more. I got a really slow wave there that just unfortunately lost a little bit of time. Nothing I could prevent.
Copy that. Here's $50 from Langry that says, I recently finished Rift Apart and enjoyed every minute of it. Great gameplay and fun characters. Looking forward to the run. I'm sure it will be riveting. Thanks, runners and staff. Let's go. Here's $250 from Apple Mac that says, 5 first-class tickets for the train, please. Very generous. Thank you very much for that. $50 here from C.A. Kirby that says, Ratchet and Clank is my favorite franchise of all time, and Rift Apart completely blew me away this year. Can't wait to see it get destroyed.
Sweet. Yeah, I think, we got like 3 waves of enemies left, so I think we're just about done with this first arena section. So, unfortunately, this arena has like a little bit of randomness to it, depending on how quickly the enemies spawn, and I sort of got a really bad one on the longest wave, so nothing much I could do there. But when we finish this, we'll be going into just a small cutscene and then another mini-boss. So this mini-boss that's coming up, really easily defeated, but is another demonstration of just the power of the Cold Front and Warmonger. There are a few other weapons that we use in this run later on. There's the Ms. Fungal weapon that just spawns 2 little fungal allies that will do chip damage. They're more important when we have higher HP enemies and we need that chip damage to really get the most out of our shots. Right here, you'll see we'll take this down. I think it's like 2 or 3 shots that will defeat Franquire.
Yeah,
just like that.
One thing worth mentioning too is on this NG Plus file we have 25 gold bolts, but we really only need 24 because we play with infinite health and infinite ammo enabled.
Yeah, not that it makes too much of a difference in this run, really. Like, it's ammo is pretty good in NG Plus, and your weapons will always be stocked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much we're at the point where now the game is going to open up a lot. So if you think you've seen like some crazy stuff, just wait until next level, because we're going to be going to Savali, which is where we get the hover boots, and that is where the game will be completely broken open, and you will see why when we get there.
Yeah. So we're just about to travel to Savali. So notably in Savali, this is one of Ratchet and Clank's like first real examples of a huge open world area. You might recognize like Curl Canyon and A Crack in Time as like a prototype for this, but the thing about Savali is that you sort of just have free reign. You can travel like wherever you want to complete a few objectives. Right after doing this very first section here, where we get closer to the plateau section, there's a few enemies down here that we can just skip by climbing on the rocks.
Yes.
Like that.
So this sort of area is like Mobius had just said, pretty much like an open world area. So I think it's kind of like a cool test as to like what Ratchet and Clank would kind of be like if it had sort of like an open world zone. So I think a lot of people really love this level, and I myself enjoy this level as well.
Yep, and now we have the hover boots. So they allow us to travel really fast across the ground, but they have something else that we're really gonna make advantage of right here.
Yeah, so you're about to see Mobius is going to be at full charge, and he is going to be swinging into sort of a slanted wall. Now he's like flying all the way across the map, and he's going very fast. And this is a very interesting trick. This trick is called wrench boosting, and it occurs when you are at full speed on the charge boots, and then you charge into a slanted surface, and you are holding L2, and then you swing the wrench, and Ratchet will kind of just go flying, and it's the coolest thing. And it also utilizes the last shortcut that we have, which is the slow speed shortcut. So you can have shortcuts for slowing down the game speed, and we have the one set for 30%. So you'll see as Mobius is attempting these wrench boosts that he's actually slowing down time as he does it. For some reason, it gives us more speed when we have it slowed down.
Yeah, this one's really giving
this
me
one's
trouble
actually
right now.
pretty hard to get. So yeah, for this one, as you do it, you can turn Ratchet and the camera and do it, and you'll get like a really fast like sideways momentum, which is what Mobius, like just like that, just what Mobius got there.
Yeah, got it.
There is
Perfect.
some terrain that can get in the way for that one specifically too. Which
Yeah.
makes it more difficult.
Yeah, and you notice that Mobius had also landed on sort of like a patch on the ground, and it kind of like threw him way up into the sky. So those are called bounces, and those will happen a couple more times as well in the run. But if you have that speed from a wrench boost, if you run into any surface that is kind of slanted upwards, pretty much just the same as like how a proxy would work, you would run into it and you would go flying straight up. And so that's very useful as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple different variations of a wrench boost as well. There's one you can do called a backwards wrench boost, where it's you're basically doing the same inputs as a wrench boost, but you're sort of canceling it out, and you could be in the open. You don't need any walls like you normally need for a wrench boost, and it gives a little bit of speed, but not the most. And then there's also recently found a IWB or interrupted wrench boost, where we can actually do the inputs for a BWB on a normal wrench boost and cancel out this sort of delay that we have to wait for Ratchet to finish, so that we can actually jump, and instead right after we do a wrench boost we can just instantly jump.
Yeah. So I'll be trying a trick here, another wrench boost down to the third temple section. Unfortunately, one of my barriers got broken, so I'm going to have to restart checkpoint.
Yes.
And lose a little bit of time to that. But that's
Yes, we'll see if
okay.
Mobius gets this one. We dubbed the name of this one Mountain Ascension, and pretty much you can do a wrench boost and do a couple of bounces and go all the way up the mountain without having to do like the trial section. So we'll see if Mobius can maybe
Yeah,
get
so I
part
got a
of
ledge
it.
grab there.
Yeah, so normally you would bounce off a rock that Mobius was aiming for, and it would launch you up to a higher point on this trial, and we'll mention where that is. So because he missed it, he's going to have to go through this normally.
I might try the second. I might try the second part of it. Said I wasn't gonna, but
Yeah, and you see
may as
Mobius
well
is
demonstrate.
also backwards wrench boosting through this as well. You see Ratchet swinging the wrench multiple times, sort of at the same time. So right here he does an interrupted wrench boost, and he's going to try and proxy off this little, I guess, like tower, but it looks like he missed
Yeah,
it.
no, it didn't work out, so that's okay.
It is definitely one of the more difficult things to do, especially because it's in 2 parts.
Yeah, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
really, for the first part, you only get one attempt at it, which like makes it really hard to practice and really hard to get down. But luckily, we can skip this very final section as consolation. There's a... It's being a bit finicky. Come on. I'll just do an infinite jump.
Yeah, so what we're skipping here is there's like a section where you have to like hop on a rail and then you do a bunch of like wall running, and it's kind of like another parkour section, and we're kind of bypassing that.
That's right. We did it. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Please, take me to that terminal so I can free the others. Oh no, a Zeta virus. I cannot access the terminal without risking contracting it.
My little friend Glitch can take a look at it. Here, let me see.
I think we're good again. I was having
Yep.
a little bit of issues for the stream.
Yeah.
I think we're good now. Okay, yeah, but pretty much what you just missed is Mobius was just killing a bunch of enemies that were on top of the mountain temple. There's 4 sniper bots that are up there, and so he just shot the rhino to kill all of them. And you didn't miss anything because then he was just standing at this glitch puzzle, and you have to wait for a bunch of lines of dialogue to finish before he can enter into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, luckily that was like the best place for that to happen because that is the most boring part of Savali. So we're doing archive skip now. So normally we'd have to go through like this really cool sort of sequence where we go through a bunch of portals and climb up to the archives that are roaming the plateau right now. But we can just do a wrench boost and ramp up that specific ramp there and get all the height we need to land right up here. That's it. Yeah, that was a
That was my dog.
bit of a sketchy one.
Yeah, but you see
I learned how
Mobius
to back
kinda
that one up.
just did a wrench boost into a bounce and just landed all the way up at the archives, which skips that really cool looking section where you're kind of like on this racetrack with the hover boots leading up to this.
That trick's also a lot harder than it looks as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course Mobius here is just going to be using the rhino to kill all of the enemies, and then there's going to be sort of a double boss fight up here, and he is going to throw sprinklers on either side, and he's going to try and kill them both kind of at the same time here.
Yeah. That left one always gives me trouble. I feel like it has more HP.
It does.
You can
It does?
also,
Yeah.
Like straight up?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I did not know that.
Yeah, and you can also use the cold front as well to kind of assist in that damage. And you might be thinking,
Yeah.
like, you know, why can't you just go straight to the bolt crank right away? For a majority of the fights in this game, the game actually checks to see if you've completed the fight before it lets you turn it. So Mobius couldn't just go over there and start turning the bolt crank. It's making sure that the enemies are defeated, and then it lets you do it.
Yeah. So I'll be closing the game here and reopening it. There's a little bug that occurs when you have like the game on for too long or just traveling through too much of the game. It causes a lot of black screens to occur, but it's quicker to just close the game, reopen it, like flush out the memory, than it is to deal with black screens potentially happening.
And
Yes, this is pretty
It's
much
caused-
a safety kind of thing as well.
it's caused by going too fast, of course.
Yeah. And so Mobius just did the wrench combo again, but he did it on this Blizon crystal. And what it allows you to do is to actually move and use your weapons during this cutscene. Also, Mobius
One of the
grabs
crabs
behind
was
you.
stuck there.
There it
Yeah.
is.
No, I was trying to shoot behind me, but the camera was, well, obviously Rivet doesn't really respond that well.
Yeah, so then he's going to switch the mode to performance so he can skip that cutscene. And then we're going to be skipping the mag section here by doing a wrench boost just around it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I believe we skip all the mag ramp sections through this game.
Oh yeah,
as well,
we skip.
correct?
Yeah.
Yep, we skip them all.
I do have to take the pity like ramp there, like because I didn't get enough height, but it's all good. So that jump there that I did into this cutscene where there's the broom goons, that was patched, but they left like a little sliver, like probably just for us, I want to assume, where the cutscene trigger still sort of peeks out from the death barrier, so we can just land in and get that cutscene from far away.
And so
We're doing another wrench combo here to skip a very similar cutscene as before. Also, I hit it one too many times.
yeah, and this is actually like a really important one because this one actually saves a lot of time because you can now just go all the way over to the elevator and ride the elevator all the way down to the chief engineer while this cutscene is playing.
It saves
You can
me
also
up
do a
lot.
wrench boost as well to take you there, but it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sort of lost. Okay.
You can
Yeah,
Still
easy to
saves time
get,
to do
it's
that.
easy to get lost during this as well because you
you
can't
could
see
sort
your
of
character.
manipulate your camera before you hit the crystal, and it will actually like help a little bit with finding your way, but it's still
Yeah,
relatively.
it does like redirect to where the camera is supposed to be, though. So if you don't get like a really good angle, then you will just end up completely off track. But like doing what I did there still saves a few seconds over not doing it at all. So
Yeah, so now in the game, we have to bring 3 bots back to the chief engineer. And what you saw Mobius do, where he was trying to enter that cave, and then he immediately backed out of it, it's because he's actually getting the checkpoint to initiate sort of that cave sequence. Because normally the cave drops in, and you have to like do this mag section. But we found out that if you just grab the checkpoint and just not do it, the next checkpoint that loads is actually at the bot. So then we can just go up to the bot and we just skip the section.
yeah. And the second bot there, like that one's really simple. You just hit the please on crystal and go. The third bot also skips a huge section. A lot of people did this casually, where they just got over here, double jumped up like that, and then just landed over where the bot is.
Yeah, this one's always interesting because there's actually
Yeah.
a puzzle you're supposed to do to get to the spot, but you can just kind of just jump over to them, and it lets you, like, it just works. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. A little bit of flashing lights warning, because this PMA, so what happens when you do a photo mode abuse is that it sends the camera all the way up to like the skybox. Here that does it, and it might cause a few graphical errors, just like that. Nice. So why I did that PMA when the boss was spawning was because doing that while the boss is like halfway in and out of the platform there causes the momentum of the boss to still move along, but when you exit at the right time, it'll wedge him in a wall and instantly defeat the boss. And that's like a few seconds quicker than defeating it normally.
We do that on 2 bosses in Tauren, and then we can do that on 1 more boss on our revisit to Sargasso, but in
Yeah.
NG Plus we just kill him so fast that one's not actually necessary.
Yeah. There's nothing much to talk about here, though. Is there a donation that we can get in there?
Absolutely. Here is $5 from Perilous Peanut that says, "Hey Mobius, good luck on the run. The whole Ratchet community is watching and cheering you on. Really glad to see the latest entry getting its spotlight on the GDQ stage. May your wrench boosts be good and your Lombaxes fast."
Thank you very much, Peanut. All right, now we have All for One skip.
Yeah. So
Except I don't want to call it that.
yeah. So this skip coming up, we in the community call this all for one skip, but it's literally just a wrench boost that takes you all the way to the drill. So there's a notoriously long rail section that we have to go on, and we can skip that entire thing doing this skip. So what Mobius just did is that he skipped riding the elevator, so that actually saves 7 seconds, and then he's going to wrench boost all the way over to the drill, and you'll see.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah, so we got that
Yeah.
first try, which is really good because this skip is actually very hard. It can be hard to get used to, especially for new people. Getting super long wrench boosts can be pretty difficult. So
There's a
Yeah.
lot of death barriers there as well that you could just run into.
Yeah, so what you don't see there is that I'm traveling left and then right in specific portions just to avoid those death barriers. And you have to really work with your speed to get proper bounces off those slope platforms, because sometimes you can hit it at an incorrect angle. And what sort of happened there was I hit it sort of too shallow and didn't get enough speed out of it. So I did have to improvise a little bit, but I did have enough speed to make it up to the drill.
yeah, and there's a couple ways you can actually do that as well. So when you saw Mobius initially jump into it, you can actually fly past it and grab the checkpoint and then just turn in and go straight to the drill. So you can do it all
Yeah.
in one wrench boost. That's very hard to do. I wasn't expecting that Mobius was going to get that because it can be very variable of a trick. But there's
Yeah,
a
no,
bunch of
I
different
gotta-
ways you can do this.
I got it in practice yesterday, and then I was like, well, that's all my luck going for that. But I almost had an angle there for it, but I was just very slightly too high, I think.
Yeah, so there's a boss coming up right here, and this boss actually takes a long time to kill. So Mobius is gonna do a little trick to kill the boss in one hit, and you will see that happening right now. So he's gonna throw a sprinkler, and then he's gonna hit the boss with a cold snap. And then after he hits the boss, he's gonna shoot it once with the Warmonger, and the boss will instantly die. We don't know why that happens. We assume that somewhere the damage from the boss is like stacking, like how much damage you're able to do, and that's killing the boss in one hit.
I think we figured out it's all of the enemies in the dropships are actually rendered inside of the dropships, and the cold front has an area of effect ability once it kind of explodes when you shoot something with it. So I think all of that damage goes off at the same time.
Little issue though, that's alright. Yeah, so that boss has like armor, and that's why that trick is so important, because it it just removes all the armor phase of it. One of the few enemies in the game that has that sort of mechanic to it, where it just takes less damage for a certain period of time. I accidentally did that a little bit wrong, but I can do this again.
Yes, we're on Torin now. And Mobius, the wrench boost spot you just saw Mobius use, where he's kind of like on this little like hood of this shop, that gets used a couple of times in this in this level. It's used twice in this category, and in others it can be used 3 times. But this wrench boost he's going for is quite difficult. He's pretty much trying to wrench boost over top of the rail and hit a checkpoint.
Yeah, I need my jump spacing to be very precise here, because there's also death barriers along the entire sort of outside of the rail section.
Yeah,
but I got it there.
And the cool thing about Rift Apart as well is there's always like a bunch of different like surfaces you can wrench boost off of. So like the way Mobius is doing this, there's a bunch of different ways you can actually do this, which is actually really nice.
There's also...
Yeah, but that rail section is like 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes long normally, so like even with all those fails, I was saving 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, and so Mobius opted for the way where you kind of carry your momentum from the wrench boost into the rail, so you kind of are zooming on the rail all the way to the end. We do have alternate ways where you can like straight up skip that entire rail, but we opted to do just kind of the fast rail.
Yeah, and it doesn't save much more to do the alternate strat, and if you screw it up, then you end up losing a lot more time anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Also, these ships might be in the way. I was going to say I'll probably have to research.
Yeah, I see that. I was like a little hesitant.
Yeah, so if those ships are in the way and you try and grab that hurl shot, you'll just like fall down and die instantly because the ship is in the way. So.
Can't do fast speed retro, but that's okay. Yeah, I'll be good. Yeah, so there's a bunch of combat here. Like after you get the hull shot, these are just like, demonstrations of what's going on, or what you can do with a hull shot, which is like fly long distances. But there's a mini boss here that's like sort of the test at the end of this. You can photo mobius during the cutscene that'll pop up in a second right here, and when I hold this for long enough and wait for the camera to start going up again, this mini-boss will stay at that set position that the camera was at, and it'll just fall through the ship and into the abyss where it'll hit a death barrier.
Yeah, Mobius.
So that instantly defeats it.
Yeah, Mobius will be doing the same thing coming up in a second. So he's going to use the same wrench boost spot again, and he's going to get another checkpoint where he's going to do the same thing, but you won't actually be able to see the boss. And this boss is going to be spawning on top of a rock that when this cutscene starts, you'll see like a rock, and the boss is normally supposed to be on there, but he's not there.
He's not there. So you just zoom in on a rock, like good.
So pretty much you skip him. For some reason, if you do a photo mode there, he just doesn't spawn. It's really weird. But it's good
he's
to
on
mention.
A ship that normally travels over.
Yeah, but it's good to mention if you normally die, like before you land on this area, he'll actually spawn back. So it's good to mention that thankfully Mobius didn't die there.
All right.
And also Mobius got a really crazy bounce there. That wrench boost bounce can also be very difficult. So awesome.
That one is very, very fun to do though.
It is a lot of fun. I was really scared there. I get a wall slide.
Yeah, and that's another one where there's multiple surfaces that you can actually bounce off of. He did a ramp, and there's also a pipe that is next to that ramp that you can also get it off of. And there's a couple of other places you can also use.
Yeah. So the rail section here, like other rail sections, we want to be on the rails as little as possible. So you might have saw there that I did a restart checkpoint and I was suddenly off the rail and I was able to do movement as rivet. So when you hold the stick in specific directions and start mashing jump, you're able to use that little grace period before Rivet is actually on the rail to jump and then move away from the auto detach radius. So this one's the most difficult one, and
Yeah, we
I just got it. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so we do this 3 times for this section. They can be difficult. A lot of it comes down to just mashing and kind of hope you get it. But you saw Mobius actually went through that rail section backwards, so he could grab that rift. So now he's up at this last part.
Yeah.
There can be a couple ways to sort of have a consistent setup for it, but that of course takes time. We're not about that. So.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah, so
that last
Mobius-
one's really tricky.
Yeah, so that hurl shot is kind of difficult to grab. There's a death box pretty much around the whole thing, but there's a slight diagonal where you can grab it, where you'll be able to live. So he was trying to grab onto that. Luckily, if you die, it spawns you like pretty much right next to it, so it doesn't really
loses
lose.
very minimal time
Yeah.
not to get that, so it's all good. I'm gonna try for another PMA here at the top. This one's a bit of a
Oh,
joke.
yeah, I
but,
like
Might as well go for
yeah.
it.
And there we go. And I got it.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, so that really doesn't save like anything. It's just kind of cool
Yeah, no, it
to do. I'm pretty sure it probably loses time, but you know, if it looks cool, then
Yeah,
you
it
might
does.
as well do it.
Loses like half a second, but you know.
Yeah,
looks
so
cool.
yeah, so there'll be another cutscene warp coming up here that Mobius is going to be attempting to do, and it'll
hopefully
skip.
I get this one.
It'll skip riding the elevator. So we're going into Cordelion, and there's normally an elevator that you have to ride over to the main, I guess, base that we're trying to go to, and you can skip that. And it looks like Mobius pretty much made it, but he looks like he's going to have to do a couple photo mode abuse
Infinite
jumps
jumps.
over here. And here's an example of using the hover boots to do that. So I guess we did get to see
Yeah.
that a little bit. But yeah, he pretty much just skipped that whole elevator, riding on that elevator over to here, and just was here already. So I think
Yeah.
was a really cool skip.
With the blind movement. Cool. Now we're on another elevator. Unfortunately, you can clip out of this one, but it doesn't do anything until the elevator's at the bottom because it's a dialogue trigger. So, good time for 2 donations, I think.
Alrighty, then let's kick it off with $250 from a very special Evanosaurus Rex, who is the current online producer here. It says, "Hey there, AGDQ Studio Tech Crew here. We're begging you to get the Final Fantasy VII Remake incentive met. We're so close. Make us do more work, please. Also, chat, did you know that you're very cute?" That's right, we're at $94,551 of the $100,077. We're within, what is that, just about 5,500 there. We're really close. And
Sweet.
here's $5 from Ramona. Very cute donation here. This is a donation from my 8-year-old daughter. Here's what she has to say. "That's all I have to offer because I don't know how much money I have. Great show so far. Let's start a $5 donation train for the bonus game in honor of her donation."
Yeah, get those in. And what happened there was at the bottom of the elevator, I did a wrench boost through a corridor. There is nothing remarkable about that until this point.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so this is Cordelion. So this entire level is like in an underwater base, and a lot of this level is like very long and windy hallways. And so there's a lot of opportunity for wrench boosts that like add up over time. So I guess we'll see if Mobius goes for some of them, but this level can actually be very difficult to perform well.
yeah. This room here doesn't have much in it either. Like, it's...
Yeah, also something
It's
Mobius just did there where he restarted checkpoint, entering that room. Wasn't that found like yesterday?
Yeah, that was found yesterday.
Yeah.
Beta posted that yesterday.
Shout out to
yeah,
Vita.
so... yeah, so...
Beta's the second place runner in all categories. Has all collectibles world record. My apologies. Yeah, he is like just very good at strat hunting and really like putting out the nitty gritty when it comes to time save in this game.
Yeah, so here's another elevator. This one isn't that long, so... but pretty much it's going to be
Yeah.
lowering into like another puzzle room. But Mobius is just going to, he's just going to hover boot up to the crystal. Because why do the parkour section? But we still actually have to wait. So Mobius won't be hitting the crystal until the checkpoint icon shows up. Because we have to wait for that to load in.
Yeah. Otherwise he soft locks, so it's pretty bad.
T-pose.
Yeah, we didn't get the
T-pose.
T-pose, unfortunately.
Oh.
So yeah, so I guess we could explain that for a second. But if you hover boot into that room and you jump when the cutscene starts, and you skip the cutscene manually, Ratchet will still have that momentum, and he's T-posing while he's in midair with the momentum, and it's really funny.
Yeah, no, I was trying to get it, but I banked a little too far right. It's alright.
Yeah, so this bolt crank right here is an instance of a fight that is actually like not required. So we don't actually have to kill any of these enemies. We can just turn the bolt crank right away.
Yeah, it's one of the few instances where we can just like jump into the room and
Yeah, there's not
do what we want.
there's not very many fights. I'm pretty sure that's the only fight that we can just go straight to the bolt crank. Every other fight we have to do.
Yeah, especially on Cordelion, like there's always something we have to do in the combat sections here. For example, there's one coming up at the very end of the stage which has a few interesting elements to it. I was jumping around the room for too long. It's okay.
Yeah, in a little bit we'll be introduced to Juice, who is
Our boy
everyone's
Juice.
favorite. I don't know what to call him. What kind of animal is Juice? It's like a dinosaur or something.
Just something. Just a
think he's a
juice.
hedgehog.
Yeah. We'll just call him Juice.
This will be Sonic in 30 years.
Yeah, you saw Juice a little bit earlier. He was like banging on the elevator when like we went into it from before. Yeah, there's like I guess like a mini scary section coming up where Juice is going to be kind of chasing us around, like trying to stop us. But we're kind of going to like ignore him and just do our own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, regardless of how much health we have, it's
Yeah, because Juice actually can't hit us because we have infinite health. So
but that's like it's not even a factor in this run. Like in any percent, it's also we also take pods and all that just don't allow him to hit us. I get a little bit of wrench boost there.
yeah, so Mobius kind of got that wrench boost. You can wrench boost off that like little flap in that door. Also, there's Juice. Everyone say hi to Juice.
Yeah. Getting really good at my BWBs today.
Yeah, they have actually been pretty solid. Yeah, so in this room, there is 2 doors on the left and 1 in the center. And to access the center door, which is the one that we want to go to, we have to activate these 2 terminals. And one of them's in this room, and the other one is on the opposite side, and it's a bolt crank. So Mobius is just going to be going to both of those to activate them, and then the middle door will open up.
Yeah, we can restart checkpoint after these terminals, which just skips a lot of dialogue and all that, and Juice sort of banging on the door or the window.
Yeah, so
Probably saves like 30 seconds overall because it takes us back exactly where we need to be.
yeah, so you saw Juice there at the very start when Mobius restarted checkpoint. He's supposed to be chasing us, but he kind of disappears, and then he's going to respawn right here in a second. Maybe we'll see
He didn't
him
even
jump
come up.
He didn't even come up that time. I've never
Wow.
seen that.
Yeah,
Normally
buddy.
Juice like hops out of the water there and like tries to attack you.
You just get a small wrench boost off of Juice.
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
I got to make the best of my opportunities. All right, we're gonna PMA here. Oh, we're gonna PMA here.
Yeah, so you should still be good.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So normally you're supposed to be like on mag ramps and like really slow when you can only like jump forward and not use the hover boots. But here we PMA'd so that activation sequence was skipped and we can just hover boot all the way along this sequence and play as normal Ratchet.
Yeah, and this saves a lot of time. This was really awesome
Shout out
when
to
it was
Saigyo.
found. Yeah. So we're gonna avoid Juice again, hit this crystal, and I believe we're gonna be doing try to do the door skip here. Possibly.
Yeah, we're gonna try our best. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so
Oh, that is not gonna do it.
so pretty much there's like a door that 2 enemies are gonna spawn out of. Not sure if Mobius got it or not.
No, that was a weird camera angle, and I sort of shot at the wrong position, so I was like probably like a half second too slow on that.
Yeah, so pretty
That's
much.
okay.
So pretty much, there's a door that we're gonna exit out of after this fight, and that you can actually do this fight in a particular way to where that door stays open when the enemies spawn, and it skips this whole section that Mobius is about to do, where he has to do like a fight here.
Yeah, the checkpoint's
Yeah.
actually inside of the door as well, so we don't have to fight any of the bosses that come out of it. We just walk
Yeah.
right past
Yep.
them.
There's that as
Yeah.
well.
So here we go. Yeah, so there's 3 bosses that come out of this, but if you hit checkpoint right there, you can just like restart checkpoint and end up in the next room with Juice.
You can also hyper
right.
strike that crystal before Juice breaks the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it for Cordelion. So all we're doing now is we're waiting for this elevator. This level has a lot of elevators, and so
Yeah.
now we're waiting for Junkbot to open this elevator, and then it's going to be another maybe 15 to 20-second elevator ride up to the surface.
Yeah, I think we can get another donation in here, if possible.
Another donation. Okay. If you twist my arm like that, I guess. I
No,
can.
righto.
There's $500 here from Alex, who says, what a great game to see at this year's AGDQ. Huge thanks to the organizers and runners this year. Special shout out to my brother Grant, who worked on Rift Apart.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I know. So if that's Grant, the designer, yeah, he did a lot of good work on this game. That's amazing.
I think we have a moment that I can give chat a friendly reminder here.
Yeah.
Oh
easy.
yeah, you're good. Yeah.
So while we're still working on that Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Bonus 3, Game 3, yes, I have to say it all at once, just to remind you all, when you go to put in your donation, select Incentives, hit Bonus Game 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, or whatever else you're choosing, and make sure you confirm from there. There is another box where it says Add, and then you're good to go. And then your donation will count towards the incentive of your choice and enter you in for so many amazing prizes.
Sweet as. So this is the Dr. Nefarious fight here. He's taken the Dimensionator from us, and we have to fight him once again. We fought him in the mech at the very start of the game. Now we're fighting him by himself. So this boss fight is very straightforward. Again, it's a lot of Cold Front and Warmonger. I jump a lot on the rail there. I was the first person to start doing that, I think, just to preserve a lot of speed into that hell shot. And again, another sequence where we just Cold Front and Warmonger.
Yeah, so pretty much Dr. Nefarious was just kind of waiting for us here on Xerxes. Like he somehow found out about our base. And so he was just kind of waiting here for us to get the Dimensionator part so he could just kind of yank it from us.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of going back and visiting all like a couple of the previous planets we just played as sort of like a multi-dimensional boss fight, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I also restarted checkpoint at the start of Sargasso one again. That just allows me to damage Nefarious and the Grunthor at the same time, which obviously saves a lot of time because we can defeat them or like get Nefarious down to his health gate really quickly. But yeah, that fight is, we make quick work of that, and we skip that cutscene where Emperor Nefarious, who is Nefarious but British, comes up. I mean, it's weird that like the only avenue they could take was making Nefarious British as even more evil, but you know. Chew on that. And we are going to Sargasso.
Yeah, so this game actually has a couple of revisit levels, and they pretty much only happen in the back half. So now there's a new objective on Sargasso that we have to do to progress the game. And you kind of see we landed in a whole different spot of Sargasso.
Yeah, so we do like completely different sequences to the first visit, and we're now facing enemies that are coming out of rifts on Sargasso now. This first combat sequence is a bit of a bitrate eater, but we restart checkpoint here so we can respawn a barrier that allows us to wrench boost and navigate through this swamp section a little quicker. Nice, I got it first try, and I got through all the checkpoints. Sweet.
Yeah, that wrench boost is always really cool. You kind of just go all the way over to here. This is pretty much just kind of like you kill a bunch of enemies, you wrench boost to the next group of enemies, and then you wrench boost to the next group of enemies. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. That was really strange. I was selecting Rhino, but it still kept out my Warmonger. I didn't quite get the barrier I wanted to spawn, but I can back this up a little bit.
Yeah, so coming up here, there's going to be another Nefarious Juggernaut fight that Mobius will destroy pretty quickly.
Yeah, I won't be using the PMA strat since I haven't practiced that one in a while, and it only saves a few seconds and is very difficult, so...
Yeah, because I know that's more big for the other categories, because you don't actually have to do the fight.
Yeah. In the other categories where, the new game categories where ammo is a lot more important, that fight is like at the end of an already heavy ammo eating section, so...
Yes.
Very important to skip that.
Yeah, so in this section you normally play as Kit, but of course we can skip it, so we don't play as Kit.
Yeah, poor girl. This wrench boost here can always be a bit finicky, but...
Yeah, it's right another section.
We skipped this entire sort of obstacle course just by going underneath the dropship and hitting a checkpoint there and then restarting. And formerly we used to be able to kind of bounce all the way up to the top, but this was considerably faster.
Yeah.
It looks cool too, so that's a plus.
So I'm going to PMA here, and this looks pretty useless because the camera isn't going up. Nothing's really happening. There's a weird dragon thing on our screen, but turns out when you PMA right here and just like mash triangle onto Trudy here, you can get her cutscene like at a really weird camera angle like that, and it saves a few seconds of going up and manually riding her.
Yeah, so now we're riding Trudy. This is, they made sure to include a flying flight section in this game, and this is the only one that is in the game. So we're pretty much going to be using Trudy to destroy these nefarious ships.
Yeah, I'm gonna try for some time save that I definitely know exists.
Yep. We're just
Yeah,
magically
explain
saving.
this, Nautical.
We're magically saving 6 seconds by having some particular routing with Trudy there. After we kill the first ship and restart checkpoint, it starts to play the next set of dialogue a little bit faster. And where we restart checkpoint from, we just go straight towards one of the ships and then kind of curve away from it. And I don't know how to describe it, but it basically makes the bombs spawn a little bit faster. And it makes the morts say their dialogue a little bit faster too. So I think it saves about 6 seconds.
Yeah.
It was randomly discovered, and we
say
didn't even know it
randomly.
was a thing. And then we sort of sat down for 20 minutes and we're like, how is this person saving so much time? And then we finally found out and we're like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool.
But yeah, that when we're done with that bomb sequence, we get to go to Ratchet's part of this fourth section of the game, which is Ardolus.
And Mobius did a really good wrench
wow.
boost there. He actually made, he
That's
unfortunately
tragic,
fell
yeah.
down, but that was actually really cool. You can get that wrench boost and make it all the way to the door that Mobius is going to. It's
there's a
kind
Yeah.
of difficult, but it's really cool.
A lot of stuff to avoid there. And then this skip right here is also incredible.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
you'll
I'm
be
gonna
seeing
hope-
Mobius attempt to do this.
Whoop. So I got a low one there, which never pans out.
Yeah, so pretty much
So
what he's
just-
trying to do is he's trying to hit a wrench boost. And there's a couple spots you can do this, and right there he just got it.
That's a good
Yeah, and so then you're going to run into that sort of mountain, and then he's going to go all the way over to this sort of random hole in this rock, and then he's going to get the checkpoint for the next section.
Yeah, so that's it. So that skips a huge combat section. I did that really smoothly
Yeah, that
once I
was,
got
that
the
was
second
very
range boost.
good.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can either ride that sort of mountain all the way up to the top and then kind of loop back around into that same checkpoint, or you can do what Mobius just did and just go straight
Yeah,
through that.
my method there saves about 3 to 4 seconds. But going up around the mountain is like really easy to do.
Yeah,
It also looks a little bit.
And it's good to
cooler, I
mention right now that if no one can hear any of like the game sound, that is on purpose.
Yeah.
So the trick that Mobius just did is called muting. So he waited for Pierre to say a specific line, and then he paused the game, held a random button, opened the create mode menu, and then he exited out of all the menus. And it pretty much is
Yeah.
making it so Pierre will not finish talking by the time he finishes turning the bolt crank, which means that the next checkpoint will activate immediately.
He dodged it. He dodged it. There we go. Sorry, I have to show this off. Hey, buddy.
Oh yes,
All right, now I
you can.
restart checkpoint.
Yeah, you can do that. So
We're freeing Pierre, of course. It's part of the mission.
yeah, we have to free him. You know, you can't just let him hang
Yeah.
there.
Did I get the checkpoint there? I think I
Yeah,
did.
you got it. Yeah, I saw it. You should
That
be
one's
good.
fairly...
Yeah, I was
Yeah, normally you have
just
to
going to do some
land.
precarious platforming, Crash
Yeah.
Bandicoot type beat, but
Yeah, normally you kind of just want to YOLO this if you kind of mess it up.
Now, for the next section, most of you may remember casually the Green Pirate saying a lot of dialogue in these shanty sections, and we are actually going to do a more advanced version of a mute, and it'll basically just instantly skip over all of that dialogue and start playing the next one.
Yeah, and this one is utilizing a spy bot as what we're using to cancel out the dialogue. And so when the Green Pirate is normally supposed to talk, the Green Pirate will say nothing, and it'll just kind of skip the lines, which is really cool. And so you see Mobius. So normally in this section, when you start this, the game gives you the combustor, which if you remember, the combustor was in Ratchet and Clank 2016 on the PS4. And that was a main weapon that you get pretty much right at the start. And they made sure to kind of cameo it, and so they give it to you for this section. But then after you do this section, the game takes it away. But Mobius had discovered that there's a couple weird stuff you can do, and the game will let you keep the combustor, and you can upgrade it, which is the funniest thing.
And upgrading it loses time because it shoots 3 projectiles, which makes it harder to aim for the pirates.
Yeah. So the combustor did end up making it into Rift Apart. Just we had to do a couple extra steps to actually keep it.
Yeah. So you might have saw that I went out of bounds like right at the start of that section. That's so I can get up here. And there's an elevator ride that's like 25 seconds. It is massive and boring that I was trying to skip. Didn't get the checkpoint. Come on. Any day now. There we go. So that one's like the hardest checkpoint to get from out of bounds. It's a really thin sliver of
and I'm surprised. I'm surprised Mobius got the wrench boost that leads into there, because I know that we kind of have a lineup where we glide down to it. So that was really nice that he was able to get to it right away.
Yeah, I found that wrench boost a few days ago. And it saves a few seconds, but it's really, like Syn said, it doesn't give you a lineup. You really need to improvise where that specific trigger is.
You can start a run with checkpoints as always on, so you can actually see where it is a little bit better, but it's still really high up, and you have to glide underneath it to activate it. So.
Yeah, I have it on my D-pad, but I'm like...
Yeah, to say, because that is an option that you can actually turn on before the run. So before the run even starts, obviously no one was able to see that, but Mobius had actually turned on subtitles, and he didn't turn this on, but normally we turn this on. There's a setting called checkpoints always on, and you can change that to on or off. So normally we have that on during the run.
I find it really distracting, which is why I don't have it on, but it does, like, it's a detriment to that.
Yeah, so pretty much that yellow icon will be always showing, so it'll never actually go away. And that can be useful in some skips, but of course it can be distracting for some people.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this quick pause to chime in and let everybody know that we did unlock Bonus Game 3 Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Yuffie %. Congratulations, chat. We have more AGDQ.
That's awesome. Good job. That was a lot of donations in this like little bit of time. Hey.
Congrats on that.
Righto. So now that we're done with Pirate Trials and that boring section's done, we get to go to
another
the
boring
ship section. And this one's less boring, I think, and this one has like actual things I can do on it.
So pretty much our Dolus is kind of like split up. So the first half of our Dolus is from Tools of Destruction, which came out in 2007, I believe. And then the second half of it is actually new. So with the remake planets, Insomniac tried to make some of them just a little bit different. And so half of our Dolus is actually brand new, and it consists of pretty much like kind of 3 auto-scroller sections, the pirate section, and then there's a ship section, and then there's this part that Mobius is on right now. And we can't actually like speed any of these up at all, so we kind of just have to sit through them.
Yeah, not the enemy portions. There's the second half of this ship section we can speed up with a cool trick. I mean, you might have just seen a demonstration of it right now. But as it stands, I think it's a good space for 4 donations also, 4 or 5 donations.
4 or 5 donations here. Okay, well, let's see if I can any % these real quick. We have a huge bomb from the wonderful Insomniac dev team. Like, so many coordinated donations here, like $200 from Jerain or $50 from Odin that said, shout out to the Ratchet team for a great game. It's a dream come true to work with such amazing people. Now let's destroy this run. Hype.
Heck yeah.
250 here from the Insomniac dev Aaron Eberhardt that says, AGDQ is one of my favorite gaming events all year. I am always in awe at the speedrunning talent. Best of luck to all the runners this week. Insomniac dev Aaron Jason Espinoza specifically with the $100 that says, let's get it, Mobius.
Thank you, Aaron. The dialogue isn't playing here, which is strange.
But yeah, sometimes this glitches out. It will play, so just wait for it. It'll eventually happen.
Yeah, it should play over here. But
if you're too far forward on the ship, sometimes it despawns one of the ships. And
one of the ships won't despawn if you're kind of far away from it. So you kind of just have to wait. I mean, eventually Quantum will say something, and then the button will come up.
Yeah, there we go. So I was supposed to get the one left now when I was meleeing the enemies earlier. I used the wrench there so I can specifically get that dialogue so I don't kill 2 enemies at once, but unfortunately, that just had to delay until here, so that loses like 15 seconds or so, but that's fine.
Yeah, we don't get to see Quantum that much in this run either. So Quantum is the alternate dimension version of Quark, and we saw Skid or Phantom, alternate dimension of Skid McMarks, which is kind of cool that this game has that. So this game has variations of the characters from Ratchet's dimension, but they're in Rivet's dimension, so you kind of get to know some of the characters in like a different light.
Yeah.
Where is that ship going?
Alright, so now we're on to the plunder beam section. So casually, you have to defeat a lot of enemies and then take a scripted swing shot sequence up to the plunder beam. I should have restarted checkpoint just a tad earlier. That's okay. So when I defeat all these enemies, I'll get a pop-up that says disable the plunder beam. There we go. So when I do this wrench boost and fly up into the air, I can skip that whole swing shot sequence and land directly on the plunder beam. Just like that. And then I can just turn the bolt crank after hitting a checkpoint and I will be completely fine.
Yeah,
So
thankfully.
you'll see there's a ship over here to the left. That's what I'm supposed to latch onto.
Yeah, and thankfully the dialogue helps out a lot as like cues for certain things. So Mobius was waiting for that dialogue where Ratchet says, "Now for the plunder beam." So he was kind of waiting for that to then turn it, because a lot of the times if you're kind of trying to do something unintended and normally it works, sometimes if you do it too early, the game will soft lock and you kind of have to restart checkpoint or backload. So we have like a couple of cues for some tricks.
Sometimes the ship can sort of like not deload, but go invisible on the textures will deload on it. So you might be stuck with some invisible stairs or something that you have to register.
Yeah.
I wonder who that happened to once.
It was tricky.
Yeah, so now we're waiting for a hurl shot to spawn so we can go over to this ship where there's 2 more bosses. I believe these are the Tide Twins. But we can spam Rhino and they should die right as the hurl shot spawns, so then we can kind of just turn the bolt crank right away.
Yeah, and in the any percent categories, if you actually get over to the ship and restart checkpoint, one of the bosses will be down to like 20% health as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
thank
very
you,
weird.
Nautical, for telling us about that.
It's interesting enough to be like, wait, why does that happen?
Well, we do the same thing later on for the heart fight as well.
Yeah, no, it is really interesting, and we only found out the other day what Nautical said when he told me, and I'm just like, what? That works there as well? But yeah, we don't need to lower the health of any of the bosses on of the Tide Twins because we have the Rhino. So we go to Xerxes, but we're actually on Savali too. In all those cutscenes, we find out that the Emperor Nefarious has tried to go to the archives and take the dimensional map, and we instead detour to Savali to try and get it before he does.
Yes, this is pretty much another revisit level, just like how we revisited sort of Sargasso in a new light. Now we're visiting Savali again, except this time it's nighttime, and the archives we were in earlier is now destroyed by Emperor Nefarious.
Okay, cool. Now I can restart checkpoint. Alright, sweet. So when you clear that combat section, if you restart checkpoint, there's a bunch of dialogue that you can skip. Just like Rivet and Kit interrupting Ratchet there.
Yeah, this is a cool
the elevator
kinda,
sequence.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool level because you play as Ratchet and Rivet on the same level. Because a lot of the levels it splits you up, so you're either playing as only Ratchet or only Rivet. But this one you actually play as both of them during it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you alternate back and forth, which is nice, and we'll also see that
On the last
on
level.
the final section.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is pretty much just an elevator section. So we're inside of the Nefarious flagship, and we're trying to find where Gary is at because he was captured. And so pretty much we're going to be riding up 3 elevators and just spamming the Rhino to kill all of the enemies.
There is a couple of soft locks we have to look out here for as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it
Yeah,
should
the first...
I feel like it should be funny to mention this elevator up here. I don't know how I found this, but on this specific elevator, if you stand towards like the back of it, it rises faster, which is actually really funny.
I didn't... Wait, did I know that? I think I knew that and then just forgot it.
It was mentioned
It doesn't
a
matter
long
'cause-
time ago, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because the dialogue syncs anyway, like pretty concisely, like where the end of the elevator is. That's all good. Yeah, so this mini boss here, this is one of the ones with the largest amount of HP, I would say. We throw 2 topiaries down, and then we alternate between Rhino and the Peacemaker. So we want to make sure the enemy is constantly in topiary state. You can see it like there, just shrouded in leaves. Unfortunately, one of the topiaries doesn't seem to have initiated, which is okay.
Sometimes the topiary can be a little bit finicky because when you first throw it, unless you're throwing it directly at the enemy, sometimes it'll kind of start shooting in a different direction and it just won't hit the enemy because it's like trying to find where it's at.
I believe
Yeah.
that sort of fence around that platform might block some of the topiary effect too.
Yeah, also the crate in the middle that is initially there. Like when you do one warmonger shot, it breaks the crate, but I think that also acts as a blocker for the topiary. Here I do a cutscene warp technically in that little sequence there. I end up like closer to the ridge. You can't really see it because it happens before the camera pans down, but I end up just perfectly at the ridge section there, and I have to just activate 3 pressure plates, so I use a wrench boost to get across the plateau quicker. I'll be doing another one here where I didn't get much speed out of that, that's fine. I will try and back it up like that,
Yep.
and fail.
The last platform isn't actually active for a little bit, so you can get there really early and then it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, there's like dialogue, that kit dialogue there is what activates it, so
Yeah, we're gonna,
not a big loss at all.
yeah, we're going to be going into, so underneath the Badlands Temple, which we saw towards, the start of the run, there's actually an underground section underneath it, and that's where Mobius is heading. So there's like this huge sewer section where Mobius is going to be riding a Speedle throughout it, but there's actually an alternate way you can go to actually skip it. So I guess we'll see if Mobius decides to go for it.
I'll try it once.
Yeah,
So this catacomb skip is very precise and finicky. Well, that's just how I've sort of found it. There are ways to mitigate it with the introduction of interrupted wrench boosts. It's become a lot easier, but... Ooh, so I didn't get much speed out of that, that's fine.
Yeah, you should get a checkpoint.
Yeah. Luckily,
Yeah, I'm
if you
just
do
gonna-
fail it, you don't really get set back far at all. It just kind of puts you at wherever the game would assume you would be at with the Speedle. So yeah, Mobius got a checkpoint there, and he's spawned now just in the normal section.
Yeah, so that's just sort of a consolation prize, you get half of it.
Yeah, so Mobius here will
you're
be trying to run into a little rock with the Speedle, and he's gonna like sort of get a little jump up to the end of this area.
Oh, I got a black screen in that. That's not good. Okay. I thought I got quick select bug there. That would have been,
If you enter,
that would have been tragic.
if you enter that room too fast, you'll get a quick select bug.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
a boss here, Undead Grunthor. He's gonna die pretty fast as well.
Yep, there we go.
Also, Clank says
That one-
some questionable things.
Yeah, very
During
questionable
this.
things on this good GDQ stream here.
The rift is closed. Thank you.
But yeah, that is the end of Savali 2. Well, we have a Clank section here, but we will be skipping it.
Yep. And Ratchet and Kit and Clank are gonna all be kidnapped, and we're gonna be playing as Rivet in the next level.
Yeah, Rivet by itself.
Yep, and we're gonna go and free all of our friends. So we'll get an unskippable cutscene with Rivet being sad that her friends just got kidnapped, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I know where they're gonna be at," and so she's gonna be heading to Visceron, which is another planet from Tools of Destruction, where they kind of remade part of it, and then another part of it was brand new.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of Visceron in this game is very different to the original Visceron. So I find the movement at the very start of this planet very satisfying. I'm going to do a wrench boost off that section there, and then I'm going to dash through that Phantom Dash wall and wrench boost off a gaming PC, as we call it.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a ledge grab
The
there,
gaming
that's cool.
PC.
I saved
Nice.
it.
The only skip I don't do. Well,
Yeah.
actually, there's a lot that I don't do, but we won't mention those.
Sweet. That was pretty smooth for a start of this run.
Definitely.
Yeah, and something scary about the beginning of Visceron there, when Mobius did that gaming computer skip, is that he was trying to hit a checkpoint near, when he jumped on kind of the roof of that area, there was actually a checkpoint that he wanted to make sure he hit, because Clank actually won't spawn in that, jail cell he's in if you miss it, which is really unfortunate if it happens.
Big Yugi jump.
Oh, dang. This is
so-
not Big Yugi Jump. Big Yugi Jump's later.
I thought it was so.
But yeah, so I did a wrench boost there and went back through that facility because there's a checkpoint at the edge of the door section, or like at the edge of the door, that I have to hit for this mini boss to spawn. And killing this mini boss obviously progresses it just a little bit further.
Yeah, so Mobius actually skipped a pretty big fight by doing that jump over the water. There's like a huge fight that happens. You fight like a couple different waves of enemies. But thankfully, like what Mobius just said, you can kind of go backwards through it and then get the checkpoint at the door and then just go back again. And it kind of skips the fight.
Good spot for a donation here since it's just a really rudimentary combat section right now.
Alrighty, let's continue with the very coordinated donation assault from the Insomniac devs, starting with Josh Lehman for $50, who said, "Hello, GDQ, as the mission designer for Sargasso. Have fun breaking my work as hard as you can for charity."
Sweet.
25 here from Matt Foster, who said, "Games, like rules, are made to be broken. Thank you to all of our fans for playing our work. We love you as much as we hate frames." 50 here from Christopher Schultz, who said, "It's lovely to see the ingenuity that speedrunners deconstruct our designs with. Thank you for inspiring me year over year through your charity work and clever gameplay. This GDQ is particularly meaningful for me as my grandmother passed away from cancer a couple weeks ago. So this donation goes out for my Oma."
Oh, really appreciate all the devs that like chip in and just tell us how much they appreciate us. Like we love all your games, Insomniac, and obviously we'd be happy to see any other Ratchets in the future that we can break with all of our ingenuity.
Yeah, so Mobius just did a wrench boost there. He's trying to get over to these rifts. He had to do a couple infinite jumps to get over here, but
those were a
he
little
made it work.
risky.
He improvised. Yeah, he's being risky. I think it's good to mention that for some reason on Visceron, if you do an infinite jump over any of the water that's on Visceron, your game actually has a chance to like crash, and it's kind of unfortunate. But luckily Mobius was fine. Risking it all.
Yeah, you know, you gotta risk it for the friends.
Yeah, it's very rare to happen, but knowing it can happen, we make sure to be safe during that.
Yeah, I almost did the optimal there, where that happens in his showcase last year.
Sadly, what Mobius did try to do there was Rhino clip through that orange barrier, but that is
That's right.
it's random because some of the objects that spawn when you're firing the Rhino will affect their hitboxes sort of affect how you can clip through objects, so we don't get to use it too much in the run.
Yeah, there are a couple sections where we can kind of use the Rhino to clip through walls, but it can be very inconsistent because the objects that the Rhino drops can be pretty random, and it relies on certain objects kind of pushing you through the wall, and some objects don't and some do, so it's a very inconsistent random trick, and there's only one that we do in the run, and it was the one that Mobius had attempted.
Yeah. I mean, there's one you can do at the end of Cordelion. There's one you can technically do where I jumped back through the facility earlier on Visceron. That one, I guess, technically saves time, but not that much. And there's another one that I'm missing off the top of my head. But like, the idea of clipping in this game is better than actually clipping. There's not actually that much that you can sort of do to advance the game further by clipping, because usually when you're at a door, you're waiting for dialogue, not a specific checkpoint.
My favorite one was clipping into Club Nefarious and then jumping up into the trigger, so we didn't have to get the automatic slowdown there.
That one's genius, actually.
If only that was consistent, because sometimes you can get pushed through the floor and just die as well, so it can be kind of weird.
Yeah.
So this is the escape section, so pretty much you can wrench boost and kind of fly through this part. It's really cool.
Yeah, you can sometimes conserve momentum onto that rail there if your jump spacing is really good, but whoa. Whoa. That was a lot going on there.
Moe's getting thrown around right now.
Yeah, I got a little bounce there.
The game's bullying.
That was not something I wanted. So, no wrench boost? Okay. No wrench boost? Interesting. I believe my wrench boosts are broken.
Yeah, sometimes that happens with the hover boots for some reason on that specific part,
Yeah.
where they just kind of work kind of weird.
That's alright. So this combat section here, we are shooting rhinos in specific positions to defeat a lot of enemies. So there's a dropship here that has 2 sets of enemies in them. We shoot 2 rhino shots. We shoot rhino shot there to defeat those 2 enemies. Here we have a little bit of a breather while we wait for sniper bots that come in from the side of the stage. I throw a topiary down here, and whenever that topiary locks onto something, I get the all good to like shoot at the right time, except it went to the left instead of the right. That's really strange, but it's okay. 2 more dropships here, and then there's enemies that will be flying into the center of the stage right now. And then there are 2 mini-bosses with the highest HP in the game, 2 dropships here. So I throw down 2 topiaries, and hopefully they get topiaried at the right position and my rhino radius is good enough to do the damage that I need.
And these enemies can move like really far away sometimes too, which makes
Yeah.
this fight interesting.
Yeah, that was like average.
Use that crank to pull the cells back toward us.
Righto.
Yeah, so unfortunately the game's almost over. There's only 1 level left after this, and it is a return
Yeah.
back to Megalopolis.
Yeah, the very first planet in the game, Emperor Nefarious decides to take his army into our dimension and not Rivet's dimension, where he's originally from. I think it's a good point for just any last donations, 1 or 2 donations.
2 more donations coming right up, starting with Insomniac Dev. Daniel M. with $100 that says, "Great run for a great cause. Keep the donations coming and kick cancer's nuts and bolts." Should have read
Thank
that
you so
one in
much.
advance. $100 here from Insomniac Dev Jen that says, "Lots of love from the team."
Thank you. Love you guys too. So this first section here on Megalopolis is just another combat section. We have to destroy 4 snipers and then a bunch of enemies that spawn. There's just waves that spawn from the center here. We don't need to kill them too quickly, but we do need to kill a certain amount.
Yeah.
There we go. So this Juggernaut here is our final mini-boss that we need to defeat. And luckily we make quick work of him using the Cold Front and Warmonger.
Yeah, and something cool about this level as well is you can kind of see behind the Juggernaut there's the like a tower that looks very similar to the one on Nefarious City. So the game kind of like hints and alludes at that in Rivet's dimension that Nefarious City is actually Megalopolis, and that
Yeah, if you go into the menu, it also says it's Corson 5.
yeah, so it's kind of like a
But-
really cool twist as like, you know, he's coming over to our dimension and you realize that Nefarious City and
Yeah.
Megalopolis are like the same place, just that Nefarious had
Yeah.
taken it over.
I think you can skip, like, there's like a 0.3 second cutscene there you can skip that saves 0 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is the final boss. It's split up into, I believe, what is it, 4 phases or is it 3?
It's, yeah, technically 4 phases, because you have this singular hand. Unfortunately, I didn't get a 1 cycle on it, that's okay.
You can,
Yes,
yeah, and then
so-
you 2 cycle the second phase. Optimally you can, but usually it's 3.
And this is another section where we kind of switch between Ratchet and Rivet constantly throughout this fight, because they're both kind of in different spots, and Nefarious is kind of like multitasking and trying to fight us both.
Yeah.
But this time, of course, we're fighting the Emperor, not the Nefarious from our dimension.
Yeah. So we've taken down the head, and now we can... Well, I don't like it on the left. Very hard to get a cold front up on the left side if you're not close enough, and I don't want to risk falling. There we go. So yeah, that's the mech done. The mech is going to teleport us to a bunch of dimensional debris in the center of the city.
Yes, there's going to be a little platforming section coming up here. There's a couple ways you can do this, but normally you have to wait for Nefarious to destroy the debris, and then a rift is going to spawn that Mobius can tether over to. But you can actually do like a couple different things that allow you just to skip that, and you saw Mobius got that right there, where he just kind of
Yeah.
did a wrench swing and jumped over past it.
So we're going to restart as soon as we get into the heart, and we're just going to spam the Rhino and Warmonger. I keep getting black screens.
Thankfully, the run's almost over, but
Mega 2 is pretty dangerous.
yeah, that was the issue we were mentioning previous as to why Mobius reset. It's because sometimes the loading or the checkpoints can get kind of messed up.
And those can go for like minutes at a time sometimes too.
Yeah, if you get it really bad, it can really screw up your run. Luckily here, it was just on the last 2 planets where I got it. So.
Yeah, so this is the end of the run. So pretty much Mobius is just going to be attacking Emperor Nefarious, and he's going to send a couple waves of enemies out to defeat us. And of course, we're just going to kind of spam the run and kill all of them.
The most important wave of enemies is at the very end.
Oh yeah, so at the very end of the run, there's a group of fish, and I'm not sure who should we let decide if we kill the fish or not.
You already know my answer.
Notorious fish killer, Nautical Turtle.
That's me.
Yeah, and we'll see the fish.
I mean, you are a turtle.
And of course, good to mention that this run will end once Rivet jumps into Kit's hand is when time will stop.
Yeah, so we're just about up on time, about 15 seconds from now. So you don't need to defeat this Juggernaut, by the way.
Oh, let's see the fish. Oh, I see him back there.
The fish.
Oh, there they are.
I'm gonna defeat them with the combustor. So time in 3, 2, 1, time. And there we go. That is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart NG+. So throughout all the tech difficulties and all that, I'm glad I was able to finish the run, and you know, I think we did a pretty good job, huh?
Yeah,
Yep.
luckily
GG.
there wasn't that many issues. That was a big GG. I'm not sure what the final time actually was, but it was probably very good.
Yeah. No, I think that was good.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
That's actually still really
It
good.
is, yeah, very good.
Yeah. Well under estimate, so I'm happy about that. Sweet. I guess if I have, like, in terms of shoutouts, just the whole Ratchet and Clank speedrunning community. I mean, it was really magical these first few days when it came out last year. Like, we had 20 people or so just constantly on the grind, making the speed game as good as it can be. And I'm really grateful for all of that. And like special shout outs to B-Dot, of course, Everyday Aussie, Optimal, the Rat Jones, and Mark, our resident Hundo router. Very special thanks to him.
Yeah, definitely thanks to all those people. We have a couple people that kind of just strat hunt and look for things, and they make a huge contribution to finding skips. Also, that Juggernaut's still there.
Yeah, he's still in the cutscene.
He's just hanging out.
He's with us now, you know.
He's a part of the crew.
He switched sides.
He's coming back. He's coming back for a sequel.
Yeah, dude. Ratchet and Juggernaut. Yeah, do you two have anything to like shout out?
I guess thanks to GDQ for having Rift Apart. It was a really nice opportunity to be able to be a part of it as a commentator.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
and
really.
massive thanks to the devs as well, especially for keeping in touch with us on some of the changes, like wrench boosting. That was massive for us, absolutely.
Yeah, no, we're really grateful for what the devs have done for this game and how they've supported us. So, you know, ever thankful for them. If you want to speedrun this game, you can go to speedrun.com/rack_RA and you'll just find a bunch of runs and the Discord on the sidebar.
Yeah, as I was saying, of course you can look up the Ratchet and Clank. You can look up any of the games or the series in general, and there will be a link on all of the pages to our Discord. So if you're interested in any of the Ratchet and Clank games, that is a good place to go.
Yeah. I think that's all. I think we're good.
Alrighty, chat. Let's give Mobius a hand, or 4 sets if you happen to have other dimensional friends around, for that spectacular Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart New Game Plus run. And shout out to the amazing couch of NauticalTurtle and Syn for helping guide us through the game as well. Now, I've been given approval to continue cranking through the so many Insomniac dev donations. I want to make sure we highlight them all. So we're going to do this as a donation percent here. Let me, cool. $500 from Grant Parker that says, I think it's time for a dev donation train. We're a bit late on this now. Thank you so much to Mobius and Delta and all the other Ratchet runners who make up this amazing community. So happy to see ripped apart for a great cause like the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Save the frames. Let's get that extra Returnal run for our friends at Housemark. We'll get to that later. We've got $15 from Megan Clark. We've got 25 here from Colin Carnes that says Lombax is against cancer, Heart. Let's go Insomniac. 50 here from Dev Jill that says thanks for playing, watching, and donating. Cheers all. $100 from Shan Simpson with no message. 50 from Herman Miller that has no message. 100 from Austin B that says hope you had a fun time, if not a long time, playing the game. Thank you for all your support and let's raise this cash. Heart Insomniac. 250 from Dev Marco that says Lawrence, donate to this run right now. There's 250 from Jay Tuasan. Let's get that right. So excited to see the Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart run because it was one of my favorite projects. Also, I missed the stream, but wanted to say how happy I was to see the love for the vintage and Spider-Verse suit shaders I worked on for Spider-Man. It's been really incredible to watch this run, especially seeing the trans love in chat, and the support for this cause from the community is so amazing. Keep up the great work. $50 here from Dev Jesse that says, so excited to see the Ratchet and Clank speedrun community thriving at this GDQ. Best luck with the run. $100 from Dev Jonathan Bishop that says, thanks to the community for all your support and thanks to GDQ for helping out so many incredible causes. 25 from Colin Carnes that says, more Dev hype. 250 from David Christo that says, fun to watch the game I worked on being run at GDQ. Good luck on the run, Mobius. They didn't even need the luck. They crushed it. 50 from an unnamed Insomniac dev that says, love you guys. 25 here from Pam Dietrich with no message. 25 from another unnamed Insomniac dev that says, thanks for playing. 50 from Dev Brandy with no message. And finally, 100 from Dev Brian Mullen with no message. That was all of the wonderful support from the amazing dev team at Insomniac. Thank you so much for making Ripped Apart and allowing it to make it this far. What an amazing speedrunning community to get it here already. I'm lucky that I am one of the 12 people in the world that owns a PS5 now, and as soon as I saw that this was being run at GDQ, I held off buying the game specifically to wait for after I saw the speedrun to experience it in a different way, and now I'm going to go and play it myself. So I'm very excited for that. While I have an extra few moments here... Sorry? About that, needed a good drink of water here. There's a couple very important donations I also want to get to, like this $50 from Zeta Gundam ZZ and 50 from Humphrey that both helped push us to that Final Fantasy bonus game. Zeta Gundam said, let's get that Final Fantasy run, and Humphrey said, shout out to the GDQ studio with the screaming dinosaur inside. Give me Final Fantasy VII. We made it. We're doing wonderfully right now. We're at $632,000. We unlocked the third bonus game, and I have one more donation I'm going to read here. $5 from Alex Moreno that says, shout outs to Orange Soda. Shout out to Orange Soda. Let's do that again. Insomniac Games and the lovely donation volunteers. Alrighty, chat, with that said, we've got an amazing interview here with Jay Hobbs and Cave for the Returnal run coming up. Take it away.
Welcome back, AGDQ 2022 online. My name is Jay Hobbs. I may be slightly blurry right now. I don't know what's going on with that, but I am joined by Cave Cubed. Cave was taken. Let's just go Cave Johnson. I don't know, whatever we want to call him today, who is going to be running Returnal just a little bit later tonight. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic as well, and I am super excited for your run. You and I, the entire time we were setting up for this, were just like talking about how fun this game is. And from what I understand, you are a super long time speedrun watcher, but this is the first game you jumped into, right?
Yeah, I didn't start speedrunning until this game. When I beat it, I was like, dang, I kind of beat this game quick. I heard it was supposed to, it's a difficult game, and I just wanted to play more of it. And I decided to take the leap into speedrunning, and I liked it a lot. The whole community of it, and getting better and practicing. Yeah.
From what I understand, this community is actually kind of like fairly a lot of fresh faces and stuff, right? Like this, a lot of people who have not speedrun a bunch of other games. Have you all just been kind of like trying to pull from any other games that any strats you've seen in other games at all or anything like that? Or do you have some people that are going for like glitch hunting specifically?
Yeah, so we've had a couple people join recently who they've done a great job of just using our main movement tech of DMJ and just trying to DMJ into any corner and seeing if they can break through. But as far as the community as a whole, yeah, it's a lot of people that haven't really speedrun games before. We have a couple that are speedrun vets and have put in some runs. But yeah, for the most part, it's a lot of us just trying to work our way through and see how we can improve routing or find any new techs.
I think that's super cool. So tell me a little bit about speedrunning Returnal, because it's a roguelite. You're going to be getting, random weapon drops and whatnot throughout. You're going to be doing a fresh file run later today. Take us kind of on a journey of what that run is like for you.
Yeah, so specifically fresh file, there's a lot less variance as far as the weapons go. Since most of the time the weapons we're using are being directly picked up from their unlock points. And one of the main RNG parts of Returnal and part of what makes Returnal so great are the weapon traits that greatly, make your guns do more damage or have cool effects. We don't unlock any of those in fresh file because you got to grind those out, and that's not really what we're trying to do here. So that part of the RNG isn't there, but what is the room randomization. At certain points, we're going to be looking for specific patterns that just take time off of the run.
Yeah, that makes sense. And is there any amount of you that is able to kind of look ahead with the minimap as soon as you walk into a room or anything like that? Or are you just having to react basically as soon as you walk into somewhere?
So Housemarque actually added a neat feature in the latest patch that's the minimap distance scaling. We've bumped that up from 50 to 85. And in certain biomes, it's really helpful because as soon as you walk in through a door into the next room, you can kind of immediately figure out where you need to go, which definitely helps a little bit, so you're not going a completely wrong direction at first.
Yeah, I think that's actually really neat. The fact that you're going to have to start to recognize rooms just by their minimap layout and have to process what that means when you enter it. So for you in a fresh file run, often those are some of the harder runs in roguelite speed runs. What is kind of the hardest moment for you in this run?
So we really just run through most of the enemies. We don't bother killing anything because there's no purpose or gain in it for us. So some of the boss fights can be a little brutal. We got to play safe since the second boss especially has some attacks that can really wipe out your health. Since we aren't picking up health upgrades or protection either,
Right.
We're kind of just running in with the bare minimum. So the boss fights can be dangerous if I just be lackadaisical about it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Now, you also have an incentive for this run to do a New Game Plus run afterwards. What's different about that one? Why should people be donating for that incentive?
So, fresh file, the average runs that come in are usually in the 46-minute range. My average for fresh file New Game Plus is around 4:30. 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Wow.
And part of that's because we start in Act 2, because Act 1 takes literally 15 seconds. I can go into that during the run. I know some people get incensed about that, but we only go through, 2 of the areas. We only fight one boss, and we get access to weapon traits, which we don't do in fresh file.
Right.
And it's really just a neat showcase of how insane some of these weapon traits can get and the kind of damage they can do.
Well, that's cool. I'm looking forward to that one. Everybody, please remember when you're getting your donations in at gamesdonequick.com/donate, pick an incentive to put that money towards. Otherwise, you're just throwing it out there. You're still giving it to PCF. We still very much appreciate it. But I think that you should totally put in for this extra run from Returnal because I think that's super cool. And we don't have a ton of time here left, but I am curious. You said you've been an avid speedrun watcher for a long time and watching GDQs forever. What is a run you're looking forward to later in this schedule?
So I literally the run right after mine, after the daily update, the Dead Rising one. Yeah, I've only played 2 and 3, so I'm kind of excited to see 1 played, and I know that the runner doing that has a lot of experience with horror games specifically. So I'm excited to see that one run and see if there's any special attacks or just killing zombies in general. That's always fun.
Just a good time. I mean, that's in a way that's kind of Returnal's just alien zombies. It's same 2 sides of the same coin. Well, Cave Cubed, Cave Johnson, whatever. Just I hope life gives you some lemons so you can give them back. You can return them or whatever. I don't know.
Lemonade with those ones.
Got to go with all of the Portal 2 quotes. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you the best of luck on your run. And again, everybody should catch that one right after Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. So good luck, dude.
Thank you.
All right. Take it away, everybody, and watch some more fantastic speedruns.
Alrighty, chat, we're back once again. What a fantastic interview, and it was brought up in that interview, but I just want to call it out once more. After this bonus game 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, once again, saying it all, Returnal has the incentive for a bonus New Game Plus run that you can start donating towards. Currently, we're at $8,969.45 of the $25,000 we need. We can absolutely make it in that time. We are smashing records this GDQ, and I believe in you all because you're all cute, and you're all wonderful, and you're all so generous. So let's make sure we do that. Alrighty, and with that, that's everything for me today, gamers. So thank you all for being here. Be sure to pass along those things to the many amazing volunteers that make these events happen, from the chat mods to the donations teams, to the tech team, and so many more I could hold up the stream with for so long if I named them all. We're going to go to an amazing prize segment, so many things you can put your money towards, and after that, you'll be hearing from the one and only Crank Machine.
It's easier for... that to be. Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2022 Online. Now, be very careful because upon starting this prize segment, several prizes will be shown in order. Please make sure that you have enough time to view all of the prizes adequately.
Exactly. Good to see you again. I am, of course, your host, Floor Tanking Way.
And I am so tired of reviving him.
Yes, this is a recurring theme. But, I mean, look, Vuln stacks are like Pokemon. You got to get them all.
That's the bright circles are not meant for you to stand. You know what? We don't have time for this.
Stand and fire DPS higher, okay? It's the way of it.
We've got to talk about prizes.
All right.
We don't have time for revives right now. And boy, do we have some great prizes. So all the prizes that we're talking about right now are from now until the end of Kuon, a little bit later tomorrow morning. So you got a little bit of time to get those donations in. But again, make sure to get them in if you haven't already gotten a $50 minimum donation in. Singular donation. Do so because we have 2 amazing $50 day prizes to talk about at the end of it, don't we? Yeah,
absolutely. But let's start with some of the other stuff that we've got.
Sure, why don't you kick it off, Shout?
Sure. Variety of things available for you. We're going to start off here for a $5 minimum donation.
Oh, what's he going for?
I'm going for this one. From Wolf Shadow, we have... Oh, God, I should know which way up this is. And if I get it wrong, I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Shout, you can read
kanji. We have
kanji.
a Shinra company patch. I can generally identify which way is up with kanji. I'm like 95% sure that I've got this correct, okay?
I think we have OmniGamer out there in the audience silently judging us.
$5 minimum donation gets you in to win this. Thank you so much, Wolf Shadow.
Thank you so much, Wolf Shadow, for that amazing iron-on patch. From our good friend Cute Monster Props, we have this absolutely lovely Super Mario World-themed Yoshi coin. You can see it. It's got Princess Peach on one side. It's got everyone's favorite dinosaur on the other. Also, only a $5 minimum donation. Thanks so much for Cute Monster Props. Remember, you got to get those donations in before the end of Kuon.
Absolutely. For a $10 minimum donation sent to us by...
Aja Story.
Aja Story, thank you.
We have a lovely set of Final Fantasy VII keychains. You've got all of the important characters, Shout. You have, of course, you got Sephiroth, you got Yuffie, you got Barrett, you got Tifa, you got Cloud, and you got Translation Fight, my favorite character. I'm kidding, of course. You've got Eris, and that's what side of the argument I'm putting my foot on. Regardless, amazing set of keychains. Thank you so much, Aja Story. Again, $10 minimum donation.
Indeed. Now, we have a couple of prizes available at the moment from our friends over at Pearl Pop. First off, for a $10 minimum donation, you can get entered to win this absolutely adorable Yoshi Perler.
I told you, Shout, it's everyone's favorite dinosaur. Come on.
No, it absolutely is. And the work on this is incredible. The melt is just fantastic. I love all of the things that Pearl Pop has sent to us this time. They're just all gorgeous.
They are perlers of the absolute highest quality.
But you know what's better than one perler?
Oh, well.
How about 3 perlers in a single prize?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll let you talk about these.
Sure, yeah. We've got all 3 protagonists here from Secret of Mana. Of course, the boy, the girl, and the sprite all together. They are a set of pearlers. They are a singular prize. It's a $20 minimum donation for all 3. And again, all 3 of them just pearlers of the highest quality, of the highest amount. These are pretty much exactly what the sprites look like, down to the weapons in game.
It's amazing.
Such great detail. Thank you so much, Pearl Pop, for sending these out to us.
Indeed.
Now, we've got a couple of lovely plushies to talk about here. Shout, and I think we both got one we want to talk about. So,
yes.
Here, cradled in my arms, we have an absolutely lovely Mew plush sent to us by Blanco Crafts. It's a $15 minimum donation. Blanco Crafts has actually even gone above and beyond, and they've put an extra little nurse hat on top of the Mew.
It's so cute.
That is exclusive to GDQ. You can't get this Mew plus with that nurse hat otherwise. And you know what I really love about this plush? This tail.
It goes forever.
This is like actual Mew tail length. I think a lot of depictions of Mew really undersell how long this tail is supposed to be. It's like twice the length of the Pokemon, and that's adorable because, can kind of like wrap it around itself. Super cute. $15 minimum donation. Thank you so much to Blanco Crafts for sending that out to us.
Indeed. And then from Pincushion Cat Plushies.
Oh, Shout's been waiting all day to tell you all about this.
For a $25 minimum donation, I don't want to give it away, but it's a prize. I got to. We have this Jumbo Chocobo plush. I love this guy. This is my boy. He is a hefty boy. Hefty is not a word that you normally use with plushes, but this thing has inertia. I'm pretty sure it's a young draft chocobo. When it grows up, you are going to need to add a new room to your house for it. But for the moment, it could be in your house. $25 minimum donation gets you in to win this one, and I will be reluctantly saying goodbye when it goes to that new home.
Absolutely beautiful plush. Thank you so much to Pincushion Cat Plushies. Again, when I saw the submission of, hey, it's a Jumbo Chocobo plush, I thought, okay, I'm sure it's maybe a little bit. Oh, no, that thing genuinely, when you pick it up and you hug it, you're just like,
he big.
Oh, it's big.
He big.
It's big.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from Miss Scarlet Tangier, we have this absolutely incredible oil on canvas painting here of flowers in the church. This is, of course, Cloud's Buster Sword in the church in Midgard. Classic Final Fantasy scene right there. It's incredible. The level of detail on it, what they've done to simulate the rain coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, absolutely beautiful. One-of-a-kind painting showed off in the light there, as well as just out of it on camera for you. $25 minimum donation. Make sure to get your donations in for it during this upcoming Final Fantasy run, but make sure to especially get them in before Kuon later tonight.
Indeed, and congratulations again for meeting that incentive to get that run added to the marathon. We've been looking forward to seeing that one, so thank you so much for getting that in.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII, obviously a super important game for so many people.
Massively.
The remakes that have been coming out, incredible retellings of that same story with those same characters. Super excited. I actually haven't seen the integrated run yet, so really excited to see what kind of shenanigans Yuffie gets up to in a speed run.
Awesome.
Anyway, for a $50 minimum donation, right, Chow? We've got a couple of great prizes that you can win. Again, from now until the end of Kuon, make sure to get a $50 singular donation in so you can be entered for prizes like this beautiful Silent Princess flower from Lalan from Lalan's Garden. Yeah, this looks like it's just a normal flower. It's not. That is made entirely out of silk and fabric. That is just absolutely incredible. Let me shift it a little bit here in the light so you can see. That's not a painting. That's not a print in a frame.
That is a flower.
Actual flower. It's so cool. Thank you so much, Lalan, for sending that out to us. As well as a meteor painting from Arlund. You can see a great picture of it over on the GDQ website. Head over to gamesdonequick.com. Click the link for prizes. It's up here in this general vicinity. You're going to see a great photo of not only it, but of all of the prizes that we have that you can win in the marathon. Prizes, of course, like our grand prizes. Shout, we got two great ones.
Two amazing grand prizes this event. Both of these grand prizes are a $250 cumulative donation. All of your donations throughout the week, we're going to add them together. If that number meets or exceeds $250, you will be entered to win both of these grand prizes. Now, first off, from Skytech Gaming, they have hooked us up once again with their Mark 9 gaming PC. This thing is a rocket ship. 5800X processor, 3070 Ti graphics card. I don't know where they found it, but they did, and it's in here, and you could have it. $250 cumulative donation gets you in to win that.
An absolutely incredible PC, as well as, of course, from our friends over at Heroic Replicas, and specifically David Heroic Replicas, who's been making us cool stuff for years. We have a trio of Zelda-themed prizes. We have the Dark Link Master Sword there, you can see on the table. It's got the black hilt and pommel and the silver gem accents on it. We have a lovely Master Shield, as well as the new Megaton Hammer replica. You can see a great picture of that over at gamesdonequick.com. Check out the image album attached to that prize. You don't want to miss it. Super cool. Again, I've heard it weighs 30 pounds. I'm excited to try and lift it. I've been skipping arm day, Shout, and arm week and arm month, and
arm life.
I'm going to get back to the gym eventually, Shout, I promise.
You were going to need to put a machine gun on one of your arms after it falls off.
I might have to. Now, before we go, Shout, there is one more thing I wanted to talk about, because it is kind of, an important opportunity that we have right now.
Absolutely.
So, for the entire month here of January, Games Done Quick is going to be donating the revenue that we earn from subs and bits on our Twitch channel, minus what we need to take out to cover the taxes on that revenue, right back to the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
That's awesome.
That is incredible. So every time you see those hype trains rolling, that is effectively money that we will eventually be donating to charity. But wait, Chow, because it gets better, right?
What's that?
Because if you have Amazon Prime, right?
Uh-huh.
You got Prime Gaming.
It's true.
You have a free sub every month to a channel.
Almost certainly.
The sub still gives revenue to that channel.
Oh.
I'm going to let you put 2 and 2 together, but I'm just saying, Twitch chat, if you want to do your thing, it's going to a great cause eventually as well, as is all of the money that everyone has donated. We've already raised over $635,000 for charity.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, Shout.
Yeah, no, I know.
I briefly had a moment when I woke up. Did I Rip Van Winkle? Did I miss a day or something? This is an absolutely incredible pace. Thank you all so much for your amazing generosity, and please keep it coming. We have so many more amazing incentives you can put those donations towards. We have so many more amazing speed runs that you can all enjoy, and of course, we have so many more amazing prizes that you can win all throughout the week. Don't miss a minute of it, and don't go anywhere, because you definitely don't want to miss Final Fantasy VII Integrate.
Now you've had the chance to recover mana now, right? Because I'm going to need that Verraise in just a second.
Right. I'm doing my melee combo.
Dual cast. Come on, you got this.
This guy.
All right.
This show. All right.
Sorry, I forgot.
Sounds good. Thanks. It's time for more AGDQ 2022 online. I am the Crank Machine, here to be hosting the best part of GDQ yet. That is right, AGDQ just keeps getting better by the minute. As we ease into prime time, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate coming up, ran by the talented, generically named and Dutch Potato. That is, of course, the bonus incentive that you all met with your hard work. Thank you so much for that. Blew that donation incentive out of the water. Following that is going to be Returnal, ran by the ever so talented Cave. Returnal, of course, one of my favorite games of all time, and you can look forward to that. It's going to be completely action-packed. This evening is full of excitement, and that much excitement requires a little bit of extra loading time. So while we bake some textures, go ahead and take a break and grab a snack, do whatever you need to do, because once we're back, you are going to be glued to your seats. We'll be right back. Take it away. We are back once more, and now for what everyone has been waiting for, the Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Run. Give it up for generically named and Dutch Potato.